quick rundown on what I look at when I put the FJ on the hoist. First things first, I'm gonna check for the leak on this tire. Gonna check the valve stem. Nothing. Check the bead. I wet down the entire tire and I couldn't find anything. So luckily, the last spot that I sprayed, we have found something. Something's in there. Let's figure out what it is. Okay, let's pull the nail out. That's what was causing my leak. Yep. Okay. Cars? See you next week. Yeah. What's up?
Don't get any cars.
No, I'm repairing it.
Or no?
No, they're like new. Oh, dude! Say hello. Off the Grid Adventures. See you there. We'll just verify the repair. Look at that. No more leak. Boom. While I'm here, I'm gonna check the balance for all four wheels, because over the last 2 years, there's definitely been some hard hits. So, and I got a shake in the front end and the steering wheel at highway speed. So, pretty sure these will be out of balance. Let's see what we got. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Looks good. Got all the wheels balanced with the FJ on the hoist. I'm just gonna do a quick walkthrough and explain what I check out, what I look for, and I'll use the phone camera as my inspection light. So, starting off in the front, make sure my rack isn't leaking. This car is from 2007. It's got 330,000 kilometers on it. So I don't expect anything to be in good shape, honestly. And it's been beaten on the trail a bunch. So I'm gonna check to make sure my big power wire for the Volkswagen starter is still secured and it hasn't rubbed through, because that would be an electrical fire. Make sure I don't have any weird leaks from the engine, which I do actually. I got all this oil here. That's no good. That's coming from the turbo. but I'm just gonna leave that. Oil pan's not leaking. I did an oil change about a month ago, so I'm not gonna go through with that today. I dealt with an issue where the oil pan was rubbing on my diff there, and I sealed it with RTV and it hasn't leaked ever since. And then I installed my engine mounts a while back. They seem to be holding up just fine. No cracks in my welding, so that's good. Everything's still looking all right. No rubbing in the Volkswagen oil filter there. Skid plate has seen better days. I've hit a lot of rocks with this. It's completely mangled back here. This was supposed to be facing 90 degrees down. I'm gonna check for exhaust leaks. This is all applicable for stock FJs as well. I will be greasing the drive shaft while I'm here. Gonna check for U-joint play by moving it up and down. Make sure there's no lateral play. Oh, got a bad U-joint. You can hear that? It's not supposed to have that play, so I'll have to fix that later. Make sure my drive shaft hasn't been mangled too bad. Hasn't scraped on any rocks. That's good. Front U-joint is good. No leaks in the output seal or the input seal on the diff. Do have a minor leak from the diff housing or the third member, which is fine. No cracks in the transfer case even after I completely bashed that guard. Check the front drive shaft U-joint, and there's also play in this one. You can't really hear the noise, but there is play. So 2 U-joints are bad. Gonna have to replace those. Let's check this one. And the front is still solid. Make sure there's no leaks on the front diff. This kind of sucks because it looks like there is signs of oil there in that dark spot. So it looks like my input shaft seal is leaking from my front diff, which is a big job. I'm gonna pretend I didn't see that. There's no leaks on the CV axle seals. That's good. Those have been replaced like 4 times every time I break an axle. No leaks in the CV axle boot. That's good. That's good. Check the shocks. Make sure there's no signs of oil. No signs of oil. We're good there. Tie rods, give it a quick. Tie rods are easily checked with the wheel on, but currently don't have that going, so. Oh, my frame's a little bent here. Probably hit a rock or something. That won't affect anything. So that's good. I put poly bushings in and they seem like they're still fine. I would check the brake pad thickness. These are looking good. Check to make sure my rotor is not seized by spinning it. No resistance there. Do the same for this side. No resistance. Brake pads are still good. Now we move on to the back. We have a leak there. There is an O-ring in between the wheel bearing and the axle housing that could be gone, so that's pretty minor. I'm not going to worry about that either. Spin this by hand. Caliper's still good. Still some play, so sliding pins are not seized. That's good. You can check the brake pad thickness in there. Those are good. Although my brake rotors are warped, I still have a ton of pad left, so I don't really want to do the rotors just yet. Yep, all calipers are not seized, so that's a good sign. Okay, everything on the underbody checks out. Now for these Canadian vehicles, it's time for the screwdriver test. I do this periodically just to make sure my vehicle is still safe. But anywhere where I've bashed into clearance tires, I'm gonna check. Smash it with a screwdriver to make sure there's no soft spots. I've already patched here. There used to be a pretty big hole there in terms of rust. Gonna repaint this afterwards, so all of this rust here, I mean, you can't really avoid it when your vehicle gets salt blasted every winter. My homemade rock sliders are still looking good. They're not too mangled. The middle section of my frame is looking good. They tend to rot out here. That sounds solid. They rot out here as well on the front lower control arms. I've seen these get pretty bad. I mean, that is not looking too good here. But it's not poking through. That's a pass for me. That's good. All my bolts are still tight on the bell housing, so that's good. Once again, this this looks like a part of my frame. That's not good. But the center section of my frame is really solid, so I'm not too worried about that. More worried about this area where the rear lower control arm meets the frame. They all rot out here as well. Still sounds solid. You'll know when the frame is soft when you don't hear that hollow noise. All tend to rot out over here because all the dirt gets collected in into these holes, and they all sit here, and the wheels just throw all the salt and rocks back to this area. So this is usually the first spot on the frame to go. I mean, she is a little rusty. Nothing really I can do to save it at this point, so I'm just gonna keep driving it and enjoying the rig. Like, this used to be the bumper support, so not much I can do about it, unfortunately, but it's still a fun vehicle to drive, and I'm not too worried about it. I've been meaning to address this rust hole for a while. I was looking at it last year and it wasn't really even a hole, but now it's looking like I should really do something about it. So, good metal will sound like this. Bad metal will sound like this. Or that dull knocking noise. Hear the difference? But yeah, this is pretty bad. Clearly, it's this hole has grown a lot since the last time I checked it, which is pretty scary. Really don't want this thing to rust out like that. Luckily, it's not the frame, so it's not really structural, but you can see just by poking around there, this hole is pretty big. And yeah, you know what, I'm probably gonna come in this weekend and fix that up, because that is not looking good. That's it for the hoist. I went ahead and greased my ball joints. So I discovered that unfortunate rust hole today, but the FJ still lives to see another day. And I plan on driving this thing right to the ground until it completely rots out or until it gets totaled. But yeah, it's brought me so far and it's seen so many adventures. I'm not too keen on letting it go. So while the wheel is still up in the air, I'm gonna check my tie rods, inners and outers, and my wheel bearing. So to check the tie rods, you place your hand at 9 3, and you just give it a gentle kind of shake back and forth, and you will feel a knocking or something if your tie rods are bad. If not, you won't hear any noise, you won't feel any play at all. Check wheel bearings, you grab 12 and 6. Do the same thing. If there's no play, or if you don't hear a growling noise on the highway, or you can grab your spring while spinning your tire and there's no vibrations or anything on the coil spring, your wheel bearing is good. I've replaced the uppers and lower ball joints within the year, so I'm not even going to bother checking those. But to check them, you would first want to unload the ball joints by placing a floor jack on your control arm. This is done with a vehicle on the ground. You jack the control arm up until the ball joint is unloaded and until you get about 2 inches between the tire and the ground. Jam a big pry bar in there and just pry up. If you feel play, any play at all, one of the ball joints is bad. But if you don't feel any play, then you're all set. Now for under the hood, I'm gonna do a quick inspection. I need washer fluid, but I don't have any. Power steering fluid level is good. Coolant level is good. Yeah, there's stuff in there. Radiator's cold, so pop this open. Yeah, that's full, clearly. My battery is very old, but still starts up. Brake fluid, I haven't really changed that through the years, but we'll see how much moisture is in there. I got my moisture tester. Oh yeah, we're solid. All right. Brake fluid is good. Okay. Don't want dirt falling in there. Clutch fluid, same deal. Perfect. All right, no, I don't have to worry about that. That's good. All right. No leaks on my diesel filter. I do have a leak on my oil cap. There's a ton of oil just pooled in there. I'm gonna check my oil catch can. Factory FJ Cruisers don't have this. See if it caught any blow-by from the engine. Oh yeah, just a little bit. I'll dump that real quick. And then the most important one is engine oil. Perfect. We are at full. Obviously, just check to make sure all the lights are working, and that basically wraps up my end of the year inspection for the FJ.